Let's do this. Subscribe to the channel. Settle down. Let me do this. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I go by the name of GODGOTHAM Game, and welcome back to the channel. The second channel.
Alright, y'all, look at the thumbnail. Y'all see the title, and today we got How to Beat Anime, and this is How to Beat the Terrifying Monsters in Tokyo Ghoul. So I'm assuming you right here just Tokyo Ghoul and not Tokyo Ghoul. So yeah, I already know, man. I'm here for it. We got to see how to beat them. We got to see how to beat these things, man. I'm just saying, I'm fascinated. Give me the detail. Give me the pieces by pieces. But you already know how your day been. Y'all been doing good. I've been doing so. So you already know. Link up in the description below. Like, comment, subscribe. What for doing? Numbers looking. And the greatest.
You had the organs of a serial killer sewn into you. What would you do? You now need human flesh to live, and the government kills people like you.
See, the government is against me now.
I'm going to break down the mistakes made, what you should do, and how to beat the terrifying monsters of Tokyo Ghoul. This kid is going to get his flesh ripped from his bones. Kaneki here is your average kid and manages to set up a date with the finest girl in town, this purple-haired girl. And Kaneki takes her out on the most amazing date, and at the end of it, they pass through this empty alley. She whispers into his ear and tells him a naughty secret, when all of a sudden
she was hungry. He was hungry.
He rips through his flesh and bites into his neck. Blood spills everywhere as Kaneki looks on in horror, and he can do nothing but realize that this man-eater is about to brutally murder him. Okay, I could tell you that going down a dark alley was a bad idea to begin.
Yeah, I wouldn't go down a. But then again, I don't know, man, because, you know, you go down a back alley, man. She wants you to go in a back alley. I'm just saying.
With on a first date. But how are we supposed to know that this seemingly sweet girl would literally go full octopus mode on us? According to statistictimes.com, Japan ranks number 12 on the Global Peace Index scale, behind countries like Switzerland and Iceland, and is the only Asian country within the top 20 list, aside from Singapore, and if we don't count countries within the Asia-Pacific region like New Zealand. But even if we were in Japan, just avoid dark, scary alleys in general, guys. Okay. Come on now. Now Kaneki running after having his neck ripped apart was actually quite reasonable.
But the blood coming, you know what, but the blood coming through though, man.
As during a traumatic event, his body would have likely released adrenaline, triggering his flight or flight response, and would have caused several self-preservation responses, with one of them being increased energy. And this means that Kaneki, if he got the chance, could have run away and have been relatively fine, sorta, even in his condition for hours after his injuries, due to an effect known as stress-induced analgesia, which is a natural mechanism that comes with the release of adrenaline that can help people carry on functioning even after such a traumatic event. Though let's be honest, there's no way we're surviving this. The best you could have done was to try and run away and yell for help. This is why you should never just date after just looking at a person a few times during the week. You should vet them a little bit, and if you get lonely, that's what long-distance relationships are for. Kaneki tries to escape but is grabbed and toyed around with by purple-haired girl. Her back busts open, revealing blood-red tentacles, and she tears into his stomach right in front of him. She then grabs Kaneki's soft neck and prepares to bite him for the last time, when suddenly construction pillars fall down and crush purple-haired girl. Kaneki then suddenly wakes up in a hospital, and he doesn't know how he got here.
This video is sponsored by private internet access, but oh no, the government's on your ass, but you gotta Google how to ask out a chick before you ask out a talker. And we're gonna eat spicy ass noodles while we do this. Private internet access is the most transparent VPN provider and won't store none of the weird questions you weebs Google. And I know you Google weird shit. I do too. And they'll keep Japan's government and the world out of your business. Ugh. When you're not shooting your shot at Talker like Will Chamberlain at the free throw line, you can take it easy and watch stuff like Tokyo Ghoul. Even in US with a click of a button, switching your country to wherever it's available. But you know all this stuff. What you don't know is that these guys have a no-logs policy that's been proven in court multiple times. They don't keep your stuff, and the courts have actually proven it. This thing is more customizable than my spicy noodle dish. Can even add extra chilies in here. It's not spicy. What am I doing? You can customize your VPN experience to suit any and all of yours and mine's cheeky browsing needs. It works with all major streaming services, blocks ads, is 100% open source and available to the public. 83 countries with next-gen servers up in this bitch. And you can connect up to 10 devices per subscription. Use our link and you'll get an 82% discount on private internet access. That's just $2.11 a month. You'll get 3 months extra completely free. To get your crypto credit and gift cards out to support your boys, I'm dying here. Thank you to Private Internet Access for sponsoring the video. Now back to the show.
He finds out that his organs have been replaced by a donor. The same donor that tore into his flesh last night. Purple-haired girl. Hungry, he takes a bite out of some food, but realizes it tastes horrible. He later leaves the hospital to head home and finds out on the news that there is a ghoul problem in Tokyo. Ghouls are vampire-like creatures caused by a virus. And he finds out that the trait of a ghoul is that they can't eat any human food. It tastes horrible to them. Shocked, Kaneki
How did he know? Oh, no, no mind. Yeah, he would. No mind.
suddenly runs to his fridge and tries to eat everything he can get his hands on, but it all tastes horrible, causing him to vomit it all back up. The poor kid starts freaking out, and he realizes that he might just be turning into a horrifying ghoul himself. Kaneki hasn't eaten anything in almost 24 hours and is starving. He suddenly smells something
He going crazy.
delicious and heads outside and runs down this alley. And he follows the smell all the way to a human corpse that's being eaten by a ghoul. It offers to share its food with him, and this horrifies Kaneki, but he doesn't have time to think as another ghoul shows up and kills the ghoul that was eating the corpse. This glasses guy thinks that Kaneki is invading his killing area and is about to kill him until the same girl from the cafe earlier shows up to chase glasses guy away. She introduces herself as Toka and tells Kaneki that he needs to eat human meat to survive. But Kaneki refuses to admit that he's now a ghoul, just as an old man shows up and offers to take him in. The old man takes Kaneki back to his place, located right above Kaneki's favorite coffee shop. He tells Kaneki that he is now part ghoul, which means he can only eat human flesh and drink black coffee, and mentions that there is a war coming and that Kaneki will need to learn how to hunt if he wants to survive. He tells him that he'll lose control if he doesn't feed, and tells him that this coffee shop is a safe place for ghouls to visit and eat. The old man thinks that because Purple Hair Girl's organs are inside Kaneki, he now has her powers. Okay, at this point, we are on the clock. If what the old man is telling us
Yeah, I probably just gonna have to, I'm half though, still. I don't care. I'm half ghoul, man. Forget all that.
is true, then this means that we don't have long before we start to lose our minds. And we already have, to some degree, have experienced the side effects from whatever this hunger is. I'd suck it up and eat whatever the old man gives me, because honestly, we don't have much other choice right now. But after that, I'd begin conducting my own experiments on myself and see how we react under stress to our human meat cravings over this next month. And I'd also begin to make notes of how much coffee is needed to suppress our appetite, and for how long this can be achieved before starvation sets in. Because we have a very big problem on our hands. If we're the first human-ghoul hybrid, at least around these parts, then this means that we'll begin to draw attention from everyone we meet, government and ghouls alike. And I'm willing to bet that unlike the old man here, there are some sick, twisted sickos out there who wouldn't mind kidnapping a handsome, happy ghoul like me to keep in their basement. And who knows what they're into. We need to get a handle on our shit now and learn everything there is to know about ourselves, including our abilities, our weaknesses, and who around here we should and shouldn't go near. The next day, Kaneki goes to school and struggles to keep it together as he gets more and more hungry for human flesh, and meets up with his human best friend, Orange Hair Guy, and Kaneki follows him into a senior student's office to collect some books, and the two bump into none other than Glasses Guy. But he acts like he's never met Kaneki before and agrees to help Kaneki's best friend with some homework at home. Kaneki, scared for his best friend's life, offers to tag along with the two. The three then head out and stop for food, and after, Glasses Guy leads them under this bridge. Suddenly, Glasses Guy kicks the shit out of Orange Hair Guy down the street, leaving just him and Kaneki all alone. Okay, I don't know who messed up his breakfast.
I don't care, man. I'm fighting him. I'm fighting bro, man. You ain't finna kick my boy. You ain't finna kick my partner, man. I'm half goon, bro. I don't care. You ain't finna pick my boy.
But Glasses Guy gets pissed off way too quick. It seems as though he's a Bikaku ghoul, which means that he's pretty darn good at regenerating himself and is durable as hell. Our best friend we've known since our childhood is lying there passed out, which you know what this means, folks. We should ditch him right here and now so we don't get our asses handed to us. We haven't had any training yet, and we're up against a full-on combat-ready ghoul. The only thing that
Well, at least you can try, man. I gotta stay. I gotta try to at least do something to help my boy, man. That my day one friend, bro. I can't let him like that.
We have on our side, sort of, is the illusion of law, which means I doubt that Glasses Guy would like to draw attention to himself if he can help it. Our best bet would have been to run like hell towards the sunny lit street that we just passed and blend into the sea of people, and we leave our best friend to die. This could at least guarantee our safety while we run back to the coffee shop, the one that the old man owns, and whine to him about this school not playing nice with us. Because did you see Glasses Guy's scary ass face? You gotta be sniffing on glue if you think I'm fighting that monster. Glasses Guy gets angry at Kaneki for getting in the way of his human dinner and attacks him. He takes a bite out of Orange Hair Guy, and this pisses off Kaneki. He unleashes a fury-filled, raged attack and defeats Glasses Guy badly. But Kaneki then realizes that he now has to face his most horrifying enemy, his own hunger for human flesh. He looks at his best friend passed out and is oh so tempted to peel the flesh off of his bones. When suddenly Toka shows up to stop him. She tells him that if he wants to keep his humanity intact, he needs to learn to resist the urge to attack his friends, and mentions that no one can know about his ghoul identity ever. But Kaneki is too hungry to listen and forces Toka to knock him out. Later, Kaneki wakes up back at the coffee shop and realizes that the old man already fed him the one thing he refused to eat for so long: human flesh. And this freaks out Kaneki, but the old man then offers him a job to work at this coffee shop and tells him that he'll be able to train here and learn to live life as a ghoul, saying that with some practice, he'll soon be able to go back to his human life very soon. Right. Kaneki begins training and sees humans and undercover ghouls visit the coffee shop daily. But then on the news, they suddenly get word of a series of murders that have begun to take place in the 20th ward. Toka hears this and gets concerned for what's to come. She then tells Kaneki that if he is to survive, he must avoid the hunters known as box carriers, which are police specially trained in killing and hunting down ghouls. Okay.
Remember, like the government. They come for you.
If I was Kaneki at this point, I'd study the old man and find out everything I could about my situation. I wouldn't just rely on what he tells me. I would also become best friends with the workers of this place and find out what they know about this place and how it works. Because it's unlikely I'll get the full picture of my situation from just relying on one source of information. He may be the one who runs things around here, but I bet he doesn't have all the answers. This also leads me to wonder, if this coffee shop is a refuge for ghouls, why don't they have more like these around Tokyo's wards? If I was Kaneki, I'd talk to the old man about the possibility of franchising this establishment by opening up more coffee shops like this all around Tokyo. This could benefit us
For all the other ghouls and stuff. Half ghouls or whatever.
tenfold, and would help me if on the off chance I have to leave the 20th ward for whatever reason. This would give me and nice ghouls like me places to stay. We can't just sit around and be complacent. And most importantly, I gotta cover my butt in case the cops come for me and find me in the 20th ward. In another part of town, at the police headquarters, this guy mentions that they found a wrench made of queen case steel at a recent murder in the 20th ward, and thinks that this wrench will lead them to the faction behind all the deaths happening there. This is the same ward where Kaneki was turned into a ghoul, and the police think that the ghouls there are up to something horrifying. But they don't have much time to get to the bottom of this, as the police chief mentions that the 11th ward of Tokyo is turning into a war zone between humans and ghouls, fearing that if they don't solve all of this soon, a terrifying war will break out between the species all over Tokyo. They then send off two of their top dog detectives, Mr. Stud over here and Mr. Creepyface, and they go investigate the wrench and the murders down in the 20th ward. Later, at the Ghoul Cafe, Old Man shows Kaneki how to pretend to eat like a human and orders Toka to help Kaneki get a ghoul mask. But he suddenly mentions that he can sense that two terrifying ghoul hunters have just entered the 20th ward. He then tells these two to step on the gas, and Toka and Kaneki rush off to get him suited up with a mask. And then they talk about a bunch of useless anime exposition on the way there and back. The next day, a strange man named Purple Hair Guy walks into the cafe and suddenly takes a eerily huge amount of interest in Kaneki. But Toka warns Kaneki to stay away from him. But somehow this guy's charm is too much for Kaneki to handle, and this guy chats Kaneki up and down, and later even follows him to school and demands that the two have coffee at his castle tomorrow night. And Like the gullible little munchkin that he is, Kaneki agrees. The next day, Kaneki begins training with white-haired guy and hits up a bar afterwards. There, they meet red-haired girl who takes an interest in Kaneki. He asks her about the identity of his organ donor, purple-haired girl, but she tells him the only thing anyone knows about her is that she came from the 11th ward, the same ward that is now turned into a war zone. But red-haired girl thinks that purple-haired girl's death was no accident, that someone brutally murdered her. But of course, she has no proof and makes Kaneki suspicious as hell. Later, Kaneki shows up for dinner at purple-hair guy's castle, not knowing what horrors await him. He's greeted with a coffee, but then is suddenly dumped right into a terrifying deathmatch.
He not even win. They're like, bro, come on, man. You naive.
And this huge man shows up ready to fight Kaneki and brutally tear him apart. The crowd cheers on as they wait to eat the losing opponent. This was Purple Hair Guy's plan all along. Kaneki tries to escape with his life, but he gets tossed around more than a chef with his salad bowl, and he freaks the hell out knowing that he's about to die. Holy balls, do we have a problem? This big baby has some big problems by the looks of things.
I would say they kick him in his area, but I don't know, man.
Isn't afraid to toss
He might eat that.
us around for fun. But what strikes me about him, and which could possibly be a weakness of his, is his intellect. Based on his interaction with that other ghoul who he calls Mama, it makes me think that this ghoul not only has a surprisingly low intellect, but also relies on people to give him orders like a baby listening to a parent. If we could influence his mind to deter him from attacking us, much like establishing authority towards a child, I'm wondering if we could stop him from attacking us or even make him hand over his weapon to us through parenting techniques designed to work on making children abide by rules.
But they'll fight on. You got like a slight chance. You know, so you got to be. I don't know, man, because it's gonna be kind of hard. You're gonna be listening to his mama though. But you can try though.
After all, children are much more susceptible to suggestions from authority figures. So if we utilize parenting techniques and negotiation tactics designed to illustrate our perceived power, we may be able to gain control over Big Baby. If that doesn't work, all we have to do is to stay outside of the range of his attacks and let him tire himself out until he gets exhausted. Big Baby is...
Yeah, see, that'd probably be the way, cause you try to do that, man. I mean, I don't think that plan right that might work, bro. You know, but like you knew, you would think he gonna. Well, he like I said, Big Baby, but I don't know, man. Cause the mama pretty much gonna get him more. Yeah, like I said, pretty much you gotta run, bro. You gotta run, wear him out.
Is much bigger than us and will tire out much faster. And also because he's so much bigger than us, means that he's going to get hotter much faster and will sweat a whole lot, causing the floor to get wet and increase the odds of him slipping and possibly breaking an ankle, which would increase our odds of survival. Kaneki knows he's about to be brutally murdered when suddenly his one eye turns into the eye of a horrifying ghoul. This stuns the crowd as they realize just how rare of a species Kaneki truly is. Purple Hair Guy in the distance sees this and gets a terrifying idea. He suddenly stops the game and tells Kaneki that this was all one big joke and lets Kaneki go free for now. The next morning, Kaneki finds out that Toka has gotten sick from eating too much of her human friend's food, but she doesn't realize that her niceness will cost her tonight. Kaneki then heads out into town and runs into Glasses Guy getting beat up. He saves him and dumps him off at his apartment where he meets his girlfriend, and she's human. This girl says that Glasses Guy needs human flesh to heal, but having none there, Kaneki runs back to the coffee shop to get some, and that was his biggest mistake. He reaches his door when he sees a card just outside his window with a rose. It's an invite from Purple Hair Guy to join him again at church, but this time he has Glasses Guy's girlfriend. Suddenly, like clockwork, Glasses Guy shows up, barely clinging to life. He says that his girlfriend has been taken, and the two ghouls go out to save Glasses Guy's girlfriend before it's too late. Okay, this is nuts. Kidnapping us is one thing, but now it's official. Purple-haired Guy is certifiably insane, which makes him only more dangerous. We've seen how Purple Hair Guy operates and how much of a sharp tongue this guy has. He's a smooth talker, and this is exactly why I would have waited and asked more ghouls for help, such as asking the old man and white-haired guy for their assistance. From the letter, it's not clear what we're up against, but Purple-haired Guy recently did try to eat me, so I think it's fair to say that nothing good is about to happen. And
exactly, man. Like, but you know, he a child.
So by basically going alone, Kaneki failed to ensure that his group strength between him and Glasses Guy was secure. Glasses Guy is already injured, and you already know Kaneki barely knows how to do anything. The only fight they're going to have for them is their trust between them as teammates, which is already in jeopardy by Purple Hair Guy's charisma. Hear me out now. Charismatic individuals often do well in positions of power, but these attributes can run the risk of sabotaging relationships and eroding trust between people and groups. The problem is that Purple Haired Guy is smart and already in a position of power, and he's holding all the cards. Kaneki going alone with Glasses Guy means that Purple Haired Guy, through his charisma and position of power, could convince Glasses Guy to turn against us. After all, Purple Hair Guy does have Glasses Guy's girlfriend, which means there's nothing to stop him from ordering Glasses Guy to follow his orders, and we know Glasses Guy will do anything to save his girlfriend. Kaneki should have gotten help from people with no invested interest in the situation, such as the old man, white-haired guy, or possibly even Toka. At the church, the boys find Glasses Guy's girlfriend horribly bound and binded by ropes, and she lays on top of a table ready to be eaten like a holiday ham. Purple Hair Guy is a total foodie and demands that Kaneki feast on Glasses Guy's girlfriend, as Purple Hair Guy feasts on Kaneki. But that's when Kaneki sees the scars on this girl. He realizes that Glasses Guy has been feeding on his girlfriend. Kaneki then gets angry, and he and Toka attack Purple Hair Guy, but they both realize that none of them have eaten flesh in a while and are no match for this bad guy. So Kaneki lets Toka take a bite out of his body, and they then badly injure Purple Hair Guy good. Okay, Toka showing up was a welcome surprise, but she played it risky. She shouldn't have been eating any human food at all, even from her friends, and this almost got herself killed in the process. This is why you should never try to be too good of a friend. Always settle for mediocrity, people. Now the good news is that Purple Haired Guy wanted Kaneki as part of his plan, and likely wouldn't have minded waiting a little bit longer before harming Glasses Guy's girlfriend, so long as he thought that Kaneki would take part in his plan. This is why I'm suggesting bringing more people to take on Purple Hair Guy, as it's obvious he's a strong ghoul and is likely capable of taking on a lot of damage. Regular old ghouls can take serious damage with a strong injury to the stomach or by decapitation to the head, and are also a little bit stronger depending on if they just ate. But I'm guessing our purple-haired foodie over here is always feasting on flesh, which means his Kagune and powers are likely at their strongest, or near their strongest. I would have utilized Toka and a third party by making them hide outside the church and lure Purple-Haired Guy out towards there with Kaneki. Then after, I would have tried going for his head, while Glasses Guy sneaks in the back of the church to rescue his girlfriend. Then combating Purple-Haired Guy if decapitation didn't work. I would have tried enabling him to use up all of his powers on me in succession, as that is a method to weaken ghouls, is to have them use up their power cells through constant attacks or deployed Kagunes. And with enough time in the ring, I think we could have weakened Purple-Haired Guy enough to either critically wound him or scare him off entirely. Purple-Haired Guy is on the brink of death, and that's when Toka calms down, and she realizes that Glasses Guy's girlfriend knows the identity of ghouls. Therefore, she has to die. Glasses Guy desperately begs for his girlfriend's life, but Toka doesn't listen. She prepares to end this girl's life, but suddenly the girlfriend comments on how beautiful Toka looks, which saddens this ghoul, and Toka caves at the last minute, sparing this girl's life, and she runs away. Days later, Glasses Guy ends up working at the ghoul coffee shop, and everything seems to be hunky-dory. But none of these people realize that their life is about to change for the worst. Suddenly, this ghoul mother walks into the cafe, not realizing that she's about to die. In less than an hour, Kaneki notices this concerned customer and checks in with her, and she tells Kaneki about her family drama. Oh boo-hoo. Her husband is in some debt with some bad guys, and he's been trying to pay it off. Her husband is a blacksmith, and he is used by bad ghouls to make weapons and tools for them. We see him hard at work at his office as this guy shows up called White Suit Man. This man tells the husband that the police
That dude's a beast, man. Ugh, he's a beast. I'm afraid of him.
are looking for the wrench that he made in connection with a recent murder in the 20th Ward, and that he better keep his mouth shut if he wants to live, and throws him outside the window to punish him. And that's when his worst nightmare shows up. It's the box carriers Mr. Stud and Creepy Face. White Suit Man escapes just as these police tell the husband that they think he's behind the murders in the 20th Ward, since they know he made the wrench. The husband tries to fight back like an idiot and gets slaughtered, and he falls to the floor holding a drawing drawing that his daughter made for him. And unfortunately for him, he doesn't realize that this exact drawing will cost him the life of his wife in less than an hour. Okay, Pops over here was one stupid fellow to try and go up against a professionally trained ghoul investigator. These guys are the best of the best and know how
That one kind of got me hooked on watching Tokyo Ghoul because of that dude.
to handle ghouls without much problem. And also, like I said about Kaneki, if I was a ghoul, I'd study religiously everything there is to know about the CCP police. And I'd especially study the ways and methods and abilities and tactics of my kind's worst enemy, the ghoul investigator himself, and whoever their top members are. This way we could have at least known better as to what we were up against. Creepyface over here is the best of the best and the most ruthless of them all. And his handling of his weapons means that Pops was no match for him. In this case, we had little choice but to run, and hopefully take refuge somewhere safer before figuring out our next step. Or we could have run just far enough before taking a human hostage, and used them as a distraction before escaping. Likely we couldn't have done much, but fighting was definitely not the first option I would have gone with. After everybody gets all caffeinated up at the Ghoul Cafe, the mother and daughter head back home. But that's when the daughter realizes that something is not right. She smells something, and follows the scent down the street. It's her dad's scent, and the two follow it down this alley. And that's when a wave of dread hits the mother's face. She sees Mr. Stud and Creepyface standing across from them, holding the body parts of this woman's husband. The mother quickly unleashes her full ghoul powers, and she tells her daughter one simple word: run.
Run.
And she sprints away and runs
They gotta run. It's over with for the mother.
into Kaneki, and he is forced to hold back this little girl's pain and trauma as they're both forced to watch this mother get brutally murdered right here and now. Later, the ghoul gang mourns the death of the mother, and Toka gets so mad that she leaves the cafe. She's determined to slaughter the police and make them pay, and she heads to a ramen shop nearby that's beloved by the police. There she sees Mr. Stud and some of his co-workers, and she brutally murders this policeman and tries to take Mr. Stud on herself. He tries to defend himself, but that's when Mr. Creepyface shows up, and he knows everything about
Gotta
ghouls.
retreat.
Toka tries to kill this guy, but he's too good for her own good and forces her to run away. But her ghoul bunny mask is one thing Mr. Creepyface can't get out of his mind, and now he'll come for her very soon. Okay, I would love to talk to Toka right now and ask her, why are you so dang distracted and in your own head that you fail to be in the present and act in a more calculated manner? Going in unprepared and attacking head
You got your feelings got in the best of you. You know, the feeling got the best of it, bro.
on is a bad idea. She was
Revenge and everything.
outmatched in both numbers and physical strength. Toka should have realized her strengths better and played to them rather than out of emotion. Toka herself is a type of ghoul that specializes in high-speed attacks, which means that her enhanced speed and mobility is her main bread and butter and not brute strength. If I was there and helping Toka, because I do like the idea of killing ghoul investigators, I would suggest we go to their home of residence and kill them when they're at their most vulnerable. Toka
Woo! Yes.
could have followed the investigators back to their separate homes and killed them one by one over the course of a few nights. Granted, each night that passes would have gotten progressively harder, as the news of a cop killer would no doubt put everyone more on edge. However, she also could have avoided this by concentrating her efforts on the main ghoul investigator that actually killed the girl's mom, Creepyface. Revenge doesn't solve anything unless you do it right. The days
Yeah.
pass as this girl mourns the death of her parents. She finally decides to get away from the Ghoul Cafe to get some air, and then she smells something. It's the scent of her mother. She runs like mad to track down her mother's scent and heads down into this sinister tunnel. But suddenly, Creepyface shows up. Squeals and screams echo throughout the streets until Kaneki hears her. He desperately runs to find her, but then runs into Mr. Stud. And Kaneki is pissed as hell and turns into a full monster and manages to destroy Mr. Stud's queen cake. But this ghoul killer isn't no crybaby and tells Kaneki to finish the damn job and kill him. But Kaneki hasn't eaten in forever, and he begs Mr. Stud to run for his life before he becomes Kaneki's lunch. Finally, Mr. Stud listens to Kaneki and runs off, and Kaneki goes to find the little girl. Back under the bridge, Toka finally reaches the little girl's screams and attacks Creepyface until he reveals something horrifying. Creepyface's weapon is made from the flesh of this little girl's mother, terrifying this girl, and this finally makes Toka lose it. She beats the shit out of Creepyface and chops off his hand, leaving him on the brink of death, and then Kaneki and white-haired guys show up to take the little girl and Toka away. Okay, this could have been easily avoided if they just knew how to contain the little brat. They should not have put someone there to just watch her. They should also install installed some sort of a tracker on her. It's obvious that after her mother's death, the little girl would have likely been altered psychologically, at least to some degree. This is common with individuals who experience severe trauma, like witnessing the death of a loved one, and this can cause temporary or even permanent personality alteration and lead to a dramatic shift in behavior from general temperament, general stress tolerance, and even an altered outlook on life. We don't know how much this affected this little girl, but it's safe to say that at this current period of time, the little girl is a liability and a problem if she handles this poorly, and the old man should have had better security measures during this period of time. Also, being such a feared member of the Ghoul investigators, it wouldn't be improbable to say that Toka, along with the rest of the ghouls, could have figured out a way in advance the limitation of Creepyface's Queen K, as Creepyface has a habit of collecting Queen Ks, and since his tend to be made from the past ghouls he's killed, they could have used this information to figure out Creepyface's weak points when using each of his selected weapons. Again, this should have been done way in advance. Toka would have had much better luck in changing her tactics from offensive to defensive. Creepyface's second Queen K was made from the little girl's mother's Kaguni, and hers is a type of Queen K that is extremely durable and can function as both offense and defense. However, this guy's weapon, because of its ginormous size, means that they would have had a hard time being as mobile in tight areas, and Toka could have used this to her advantage. The next day, Kaneki goes to Redhead Girl's bar to find out more information about Purple Hair Girl, and finds out that she came from the 11th ward of Tokyo. Redhead tells Kaneki that he'll probably get some answers on her if he goes to the 11th ward himself, but she warns him that he needs to go soon, as police forces will soon arrive there to cause some trouble. Nearby, a group of horrifying ghouls show up to the 20th ward, and they prepare for their mission, to find Purple Hair Girl before anyone else does, starting at her favorite coffee shop, the one Kaneki works at. Later at police headquarters, Mr. Stud is given a new band of assistants as everyone prepares for their horrifying mission to invade the 11th ward, and they suddenly get a call from the 11th ward itself, and they find out that terrifying ghouls have taken over all the police stations there, killing every single cop they could find, and they watch everyone on the screen get brutally killed. Back at the coffee shop, a ghoul named Mr. Goatee shows up with his henchmen and asks about the location of Purple Hair Girl, but he suddenly catches her scent on Kaneki and demands he tells him where she is. But Kaneki then knocks this guy to the floor, but Kaneki doesn't want to hurt this guy's feelings, so he lies and tells Mr. Goatee that Purple Hair Girl left the cafe earlier today. Mr. Goatee thinks Purple Hair Girl is alive and cheers up, and he then throws Kaneki a bone and tells him that trouble is looking for him as they speak. Some more ghouls aside from Mr. Goatee have recently invaded the 20th ward, looking for Purple Hair Girl too, but these ghouls are crazy as hell, and just like the 11th ward, plan to turn this place into a war zone too. Mr. Goatee thanks Kaneki for his time, and his squad heads out. Suddenly, Mr. Goatee comes flying back in through the shop window glass, and in steps the psycho mob boss from before.
There he go. He the one that got he the whole reason why I got hooked into Tokyo Ghoul, bro.
Mr. White Suit. He takes an immediate interest in Kaneki and asks him for Purple Hair Girl's location, but Kaneki doesn't tell him shit, so he beats the crap out of him as everybody nearby looks around helpless. These guys are true killers and have horrifying plans for Kaneki. Toka tries to stop this thug from kidnapping him, but Purple Hair Kid brutally beats her before they leave, and also reveals to everyone that he's her long-lost brother. Yay, family reunited! Later, the old man and white-haired guy come back to the now utterly destroyed coffee shop and find out that Kaneki has been kidnapped, but the old man is one stubborn bastard and gathers the rest of his crew to go save Kaneki, calling everyone he knows like Redhead Girl and even Purple Hair Guy, and he knows that so many lives are going to die. Okay, while I admire the strong ties old man has to his people, realistically there's little chance in hell that we'll be able to save Kaneki without losing a lot of our people in the process. We're about to storm the 11th ward. Imagine the apartment building from the movie Dread. That's how bad it is over there. There's a reason why thousands of people have died so far in the 11th ward. While admirable, this plan is completely stupid, even if you bring the silver-tongued weirdo Purple Hair Guy. We're going up against an army, and we have less than 2 baker's dozens worth of ghouls on our side. For good measure, I would have at least tried to hire other ghouls for insurance to help us in our upcoming battle. We may not get their loyalty, but at least they'll make for a better distraction if we bring more bodies to this upcoming bloodbath. If anything, we could have used more hired ghouls as a distraction tactic. using them and the cops who we know are headed there to keep the majority of the 11th Ward busy while we look for Kaneki. Kaneki wakes up and realizes that he's in the horrifying 11th Ward, and White Suit Man begins to interrogate Kaneki in the most terrifyingly delicious ways possible, like removing each of this ghoul's fingers and toes again and again as they do regenerate. This quickly drives Kaneki insane, and he finally loses his shit and breaks free and savagely kills Mr. Suit Guy as his hair turns a soulless white, turning him into a full-on powerful ghoul, and this now monster consumes this guy whole. Meanwhile, just outside, the old man and his gang prepare to invade the 11th Ward, along with thousands of police nearby. The police storm in, and hundreds of ghouls and police die instantly. It's a horrifying battle, and blood is spilled everywhere. But something is not right, as everyone here realizes it. They soon hear the rumbling of something terrifying in the distance. This police general's face goes pale as he sees what everyone else does. The most powerful evil ghoul in the history of mankind. The old man can sense what horrors are about to happen, and this guy tells his task force that anyone who doesn't want to die should leave now, and just this small group readies their weapons and prepare to fight the bloodiest battle against the most powerful bad guy in the world, the one-eyed owl.
There, you heavy ladies and gentlemen. Oh, yeah, man, Tokyo Ghoul, man. Yo, I enjoy watching Tokyo Ghoul, so, man. I like when they break down this type stuff, too, so you already know, man. Anyway, leave a